Hi, my name is Nicole Huckabee and this is my persuasive speech. The topic of my speech is violence against women. You will learn what violence and abuse is, the different types of violence and abuse, and many other important details, especially to women. So, what is abuse? There are 6 main types of abuse and violence. The first type is dating violence. Dating violence is when one person purposely causes physical or psychological harm to another person they are dating. This includes sexual assault, physical abuse, and psychological and emotional abuse. Dating violence is a serious crime that occurs in both casual and serious relationships. This includes both heterosexual and same-sex relationships. The second type of abuse or violence is domestic and intimate partner violence. This type of violence occurs when one person purposely causes either physical or mental harm to another. This includes physical abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, sexual assault, isolation, or controlling all of the victim's money, shelter, time, and food. The third type of abuse is emotional and verbal abuse. This type of abuse is an attempt to isolate, threaten, or intimidate a person. Examples of emotional and verbal abuse include yelling, criticizing, name-calling, blaming other person for everything, playing mind games or manipulating you, ordering you around, keeping you from spending time with friends and family, and threatening to hurt you. The fourth type of abuse is human trafficking. Human trafficking is when a person is lured, recruited, or taken by force into another country. There they are forced to work under brutal and inhuman conditions. The fifth type of abuse is sexual assault. Sexual assault is any type of sexual activity that you do not agree to. This includes inappropriate touching, vaginal, anal, or oral penetration, and child molestation. The last type of abuse is stalking. 1 out of every 12 women has been stalked at some time in her life. Examples of stalking are following a person, appearing at a person's home or place of business, making harassing phone calls, leaving written messages or objects, and vandalizing a person's property. Now that you know the different types of abuse and violence and the examples, let's put it all together. There are several clear signs to let you know you are in an abusive relationship. Do any of these signs pertain to you? They are as follows. Your partner monitors what you're doing all the time. He criticizes you for little things, constantly accuses you of being unfaithful, prevents or discourages you from seeing friends or family, or going to work or school, gets angry when drinking alcohol or using drugs, controls how you spend your money, humiliates you in front of others, destroys your property or things you care about, threatens to hurt you, your children, or your pets, or does hurt you by hitting, beating, pushing, shoving, punching, slapping, kicking, or biting, uses or threatens to use a weapon against you, forces you to have intercourse against your will, and blames you for his violent outbursts. Due to the immense amount of violences against women, laws and legislations were created. In 1994, the Violence Against Women Act was passed for the first time. The act was renewed in 2000 and then again in 2006. When renewed in 2006, more programs and services were added. These new programs and services include violence prevention programs, new protections for victims who were evicted from their apartments because they are victims of domestic violence and or stalking, funding for rape crisis centers, programs to meet the needs of women of different races or ethnicities, for victims with disabilities, and services for children and teens. There are also court order of protection. If you are being abused, you can go to the court to get protection for you and your children. The protection includes the following: order the abuser not to have any contact with you and your children, order the abuser to move out of your home and give you the use of the car, and order the abuser to pay child support, spousal support, or continue your insurance coverage. Now let's move on to statistics. How many abused women are there in the U.S.? Well, in 1992 and 1993, there was almost 5 million victimizations of women ages 12 and older. Women and girls ages 12 and up annually reported that there were almost 500,000 rapes and sexual assaults. Of those 500,000 rapes and sexual assaults, over half were committed by friends or acquaintances of the victims. Strangers were responsible for only 1 in 5. Here's some statistics on the abusers. 29% of lone offender violences against women are intimate, such as a boyfriend, husband, or ex. According to FBI data in 1990, there were 5,328 women murdered. Half or more of the 5,328 women were murdered by a husband or boyfriend. According to a 1993 national poll, 34% of adults in the U.S. have reported witnessing a man beating his wife or girlfriend. 14% of women have reported that their husband or boyfriend has gotten violent with them. Let's take a look at the last decade. It has been reported that one of the major causes of emergency room visits by women is domestic violence. 20 to 30% of women seen by an ER physician exhibit at least one or more symptoms of physical abuse. 10% of the victims were pregnant at the time of the abuse, and 10% of them said that their children were also abused by the perpetrator. Women between the ages of 19 and 29, and women in families with incomes below $10,000 were more likely than other women to become victims of violence by an intimate. The majority of stalking victims are between the ages of 18 and 39 years old. When looking at these statistics, they don't seem like much, but when someone is being abused, even 1% is one too many. What should you do to help a friend or someone else that is being abused? This question is pretty easy. Set up time to talk to your friend and let them know that you are concerned about her safety. Be supportive of her and let her know that you understand that she is in a tough situation. Don't place any shame, blame, or guilt on your friend, and be supportive of her decisions, whether she decides to stay or leave. Encourage your friend to do things outside of the relationship with friends or family. Help your friend make a safety plan and to talk to someone who can help. Let your friend know that you will always be there for her no matter what. And lastly, keep in mind that you can't rescue your friend. Would you like to help women that are being abused? If so, here are some ways to prevent and end violence. Call the police if you see or hear evidence of domestic violence. Support a friend or family member who may be in an abusive relationship. Volunteer at a local domestic violence shelter or another organization helping survivors or working to prevent violence. Become an activist. Protect yourself by taking self-defense classes. But most importantly, raise your children to respect others. Remember, our children are our future. In conclusion, violence against women is a very serious matter and needs to be prevented. Take the chance to change someone's life if you see they are being abused. Most important, to all of us women out there, don't become a victim of abuse, assault, and violence. Travel in pairs or groups when out, especially at night. Take yourself out of a relationship at the first sign of abuse. Protect yourself and your children and live a long, happy life.